Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all. I hope you've all had a good lunch. Too good, perhaps? Too good, right? I can see you, sitting in a way which, shows that the lunch was very, very good. So I recall what Prof. Annie said just now, that those who attend the second day, right, of the summit is the master class, right? So those who attend the day 2 of the summit after lunch is the ultimate masterclass. Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back, right? Ultimate masterclass. I mean, and you know what they say about this after lunch slot, right? It's called what? It's called the graveyard shift. Okay, but we're going to show that we're not in the graveyard. We're all alive and well, right? And I'm very happy to have all of you here for this sixth session of the summit, right? And I'm Azlin, and I'm, as Roshan said just now, the president of PENIAGAWATI, which is the one of the supporting partners of this summit. And I'd like to give a shout out to my gang from PENIAGAWATI, the National Federation of Women Entrepreneurs. Yes, all right. Okay, so today, right, for this session, right, we actually have another speaker who's now, I think, making her way from the restroom, right? So maybe we'll wait for her a little while. But anyway, we have 5 speakers with us in this session, right? Which is with the title of Lessons and Inspiration for Younger Women Sharing Success Stories. So this panel is very, very interesting. It's apt for this after lunch slot, where we'll be hearing the wonderful journeys of 5 speakers, right? With it's really a diverse panel. The speakers are, from different ages, different industries, different stage of their careers, right? And it'll be very, very wonderful to hear the journey of all the speakers. And we have Miss Wei Su Hua here. I think you've heard from her just now in session 1 when she made some comment, right, this morning, right? Su Hua is the co-founder and managing director of Digital Way Academy, Malaysia. And we have Miss Meera Raj, right? She's the boss here, okay? She's the general manager of InterContinental Kuala Lumpur, which is the hotel we're in. So thank you so much for making sure that everything for the summit is fine for the last 2 days, Meera. All right, and then we have I'll go to the 2 on Zoom first before Natasha makes her way. Right, so we have 2 speakers on Zoom. We have Miss Veronica Colondam, CEO and founder of YCAB Foundation Indonesia. Are you there, Miss Veronica? Yeah, hi, from Indonesia. And then we have all the way from Russia, Miss Tabasomm Mohammad Kazim, who's a first-year student in International Relations in Russian University of People's Friendship. So you can see the diversity of all the speakers. So are you ready to hear from all of them? Yes? Okay, so we're going to start this section by giving the speakers 7 minutes to share with you their wonderful journeys, right? Then after that, I hope that all of you will be very, very engaged and interactive in this session. I think it's more fun like that, where you will get more of it out of it as well by asking all the questions. So we start first, Miss Su Hua.
Hi everybody. Yeah, hope you're doing well after lunchtime. So thank you for the introduction, Dato Azlin. So as she has mentioned, right, I am the co-founder and managing director of Digital Way Academy, which is an education social enterprise. And if you looked on my LinkedIn, right, you will very quickly find out that I actually started this social enterprise right out of university. So yes, 2 years ago, I just graduated with a degree in neuroscience. Yeah, so I'll just be talking a little bit about how I got to where I am today. And mainly I'll be sharing about discovering passion, and also from the perspective of a young entrepreneur of what I focus on in an education social enterprise. Yeah, so to start off with, I think in the journey of discovering passion, right? Actually, this is one of the things we teach, in our academy under our wider competencies courses. And we actually developed this original framework of how to discover passion, and there are 4 C's. Yeah, there's many 4 C's, 4P, 4E today. Yeah, so I'll be sharing the 4 C's of how to discover passion. Yeah, so actually, let me just open up my notes as well, just so that we can be as accurate as possible. I think the first one, right, as we are discovering our passion and what we want to do in life, the very first thing is about compass. Because, even if we don't know what we want to do, we can still choose to do good. So that is the first philosophy and principle that we teach to every learner, that, lead life with our moral compass, and the easiest way is to do good and do no harm. So that's the first C. And the second C is connectedness, because we all each have our own networks, our families, our friends, and friends of friends, friends of families, right? And there's just so many ways that we can get connected to the wider community to find out what's out there, what is happening in the world around us, and that leads us to the third C, which is curiosity. And curiosity is really going out there with the desire to learn, to find out things that we don't know about, even if it is uncomfortable. Yeah, so that's the third C. And the last C is cultivate. So cultivate is about, once we find something that we are interested in or we are good at, how do we turn that, fan that little spark into a huge flame, a passion, right? In other words. So I'll just be sharing my journey along that line. So actually, I have been very fortunate to have a lot of exposure to 2 key areas across my life. Number 1 is impact, and number 2 is entrepreneurship. Because my father is actually an entrepreneur, and he's also in the social impact space. My entire family is very, very passionate about bringing social good to the world. So growing up, we often hear these things about helping others, even without asking for anything in return. So that was the environment growing up, joining a lot of organizations like UNHCR to teach refugees, ranging from that to helping the deaf community to feel more included in the society through Interact Club, and working with Rotary Club as well, etc. So a lot of these kind of experiences, and delving deeper into education. Since I started to teach refugees, I found that it was a calling. I actually felt very energized when I can help someone to realize their potential and to discover their strengths and their interests along the way as well. Yeah, so with that background, I actually went into neuroscience. So I studied neuroscience with the intention of learning about how the brain works, how the brain learns. Because how are we going to design effective education if we don't know how the brain works, right? Yeah, so that is why I went into it, and eventually specialized in educational neuroscience. So topics relating to attention, to motivation, to memory, to emotions, and how can we include all of that as a key part of learning. Yeah. And bringing it to the phase of starting the social enterprise, it was co-founded by myself together with my father, right, who is a tech entrepreneur. Yeah, so combining his strength in the digital technology space and my passion in education, we started this education social enterprise focused on developing digital talents. Yeah, so I think that's all I'll share for now.
Okay, thank you, Suha. Can you imagine that coming from a 24-year-old? Isn't it wonderful? I mean, I'm just thinking, what did we all do when we were 24 years old, and did we speak like that? It is really, really amazing. And I'm sure not many of the people in front of us are, older than you, Suha. Anybody who was, younger than Suha here? Nobody wants to admit, yeah. Yeah, we are all younger than Suha, but it's amazing. I'm very happy to hear that sharing, a young entrepreneur, social entrepreneur at 24 years old. So that's good. And we have just been joined by Miss Natasha. All right. So I was just introducing everybody just now, and while you were on the way here, right? So Miss Natasha Lyon, all right, is you've got she's a social activist with spirit of love and woman moving mountains. Right, that's great, right? Woman moving mountains. I like that, you know. Right. So anyway, now to go on with the agenda, right? We have our second speaker. Who's all the way from Indonesia. All right. Are you there? Right.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Azlin, how are you?
How are you, Miss Veronica? Are you fine? You know, it's 1 hour behind, right, in Jakarta?
Yes.
All right. So you're the CEO and founder of a YCAB. I was told just now that it's not YCAB, it's YCAB, YCAB Foundation. So maybe you can share with us all your accomplishments. I see that your CV has got lots of good things. I see that you are the Asia's top superwoman 2021. That's amazing. You know, so maybe you can share with us your journey, Miss Veronica.
Yes, Dato Azlin and all the amazing and beautiful ladies on the stage and the audience. Greetings from Jakarta. Very, very happy to be invited here and to share. Maybe I'll just begin. I don't know where to begin, but I guess life sometimes, you know, comes at a very surprising, you know, turns. I was not surely planning to, you know, like started a nonprofit back in 1999. So this is like, what, 23 years ago. I was 26, by the way, a little older than the first speaker, but I was starting to kind of restless in my soul. And I think that restlessness is good. Sometimes in life, you kind of need that kind of restlessness because it's about time that you are, you know, to do something really different and sometimes radical in your life that can change not just your life, but the life of others around you. So this is back in 1999, started the foundation, YCAB. It actually stands for Yayasan Cinta, Anak Bangsa, everybody knows, especially in Malaysia, the word cinta means love. So I think maybe the engine to create change or transform Indonesia's youth at that point of time, and still is today, was, you know, out of love. I'm easily, for me, it was kind of easy, my life integration between what I believe, my faith, and what I do is kind of integrated in the things that I do. So back in 1999, YCAB was born just to help probably more into soft skill, life skills training for young people, but born out of my own calling. I guess at that point of time, I was between my first and second children, and thinking about what is it that I can do to prepare a world better for our children. So that was I think the draw coming from my own motherhood. And I think I would identify with any women in this room. When you have start children, then your life's just different, your priorities different, and you started thinking about other women or mothers who may not have the same opportunity, and what would be the biggest, I think, struggle, the one thing that we fear for our children. So that was the beginning of my journey. So that was 99, the year 99. And we started with the education kind of approach to helping young people, youth, at that point of time, about junior and high school level, how they can, you know, be independent in making their own decisions. So I'm actually very much understand what the brain science behind that, you know, even being assertive and being, you know, like what you were explaining, the first speaker, about, you know, building that strong self, you know, against all the negative in the world. And then I learned 4 years into creating the foundation, we kind of learned that, hey, Indonesia, there's a lot of dropout. And I'm actually thinking, why not we actually address the issue of dropouts. We are dealing with 2.5 million dropout cases in Indonesia, and that the number kind of remains the same per pre-COVID. That data stands, so that's like half of Singapore actually drop out of school, every year. So we're trying to do something there, and we created the Rumah Belajar. It's like community learning center. But then we realized those who drop out in mainstream, they still drop out in our facility. And I mean, our school is pretty much like 80 cents a month kind of school. So it's very affordable, but why do they still drop out? The answer to that question is because even the school is free, going to school is never free. So then we realized, hey, the problem is with the economy. And then fast forward 10 years into the foundation, we set up a small loan capital for the mothers of our students to help them grow. Because in our impact sort of like measurement, we kind of know those who are given, we're talking about ultra micro size. So this is not SME size, this is ultra micro, $100 to 200 US dollar kind of intervention. They can increase their daily income to like 3 times. So that makes a lot of difference for them, because with that cushion, that extra money, they can give to their children to go as transport. So we kind of tie up the microcredit kind of approach to education. So it's a microcredit enabling education kind of program. So that's where we are at now. And I guess now 20 years down the line, we are trying to integrate to really deepen the relationship between education, which is run under the foundation, and the microcredit to benefit education, which is run under YCAB structures, YCAB venture structures, because as a social enterprise in Indonesia, you can't run it under one house, you run it under 2 structures. So we're like a 2-structured social enterprise. But again, as I started earlier, I said I never actually planned to become a social entrepreneur. When I started YCAB, there was no term of social entrepreneurship yet. Only it was getting popular back, and I was doing my program in INSEAD in 2009, 2010, that they started social entrepreneurship, coin in that terminology. So here we are, 23 years down the line as a social enterprise in Indonesia, doing both education and economic empowerment for women and youth.
Okay, what a great story. And yeah, I was just going to ask you the question, Ms. Veronica, about, in 1999, nobody ever heard of social enterprise. As you say, it was only coined somewhere in 2009 or 2010, right? But you had the idea already. It doesn't matter what the label is, but you already figured out that it's going to be like this. And I think that structure of, having the funding and the microcredit, for education, I mean, it's a comprehensive structure, and congratulations, it's very good. Okay, so we move on to the third speaker, Ms. Natasha Lyon. All right, she's a social activist, as I said just now, founder and director of the Spirit of Love and Women Moving Mountains. She migrated to Malaysia 15 years ago from Australia. So let's hear Natasha's story about what she does for the underprivileged children. Natasha?
Hello, my name's Natasha, and I've been living here for over 15 years, and I haven't actually looked back as well. And a lot of people often wonder, like, why do you live in Malaysia, So during my journey through Malaysia, and why I decided to live here is because, I really believe that this is my purpose in life, and I believe that everyone is born for a purpose. And I would truly say that I'm inspired by the local people, especially the underprivileged people and underprivileged community leaders. So I'd like to share a little bit about that with you. So when I moved to Malaysia, I realized that there was so much potential in so many youth from all different walks of life, from whether it be athletics or it be academics or something to do with art. And there wasn't really that much, there wasn't really anything really out there for them. And I found that a lot of underprivileged people didn't have access to a mentor or to someone to really love them and guide them through their journey in life. So I realized that while being here, my purpose in life is to really just, with every child that comes by, to really love, to really nurture, and to really guide them into their next, to the next level. And after that, while working with them, I realized that mentoring, they also have a lot of amazing other mentors as well, which is a lot of underprivileged women who really dedicated their life. And I could actually say that actually a lot of them I discovered through my journey would give their last dollar to these people. And this is why I solely dedicate my time to this, because I think when I see that, I also get very moved, and I think, wow, I live quite a privileged life. Like, I can go home and say, yes, I've got good food to eat. Yes, I've got shelter. Yes, I went to, one of the best universities in Australia. And to see these children with so much more potential, I'd say, even what I have, and, they can give so much back to the world is the reason why I do this, is the reason why I do what I do. And I would have to say, like, there is a lot of success stories, and it's only made possible, not just, because of time spent by a lot of mentors like myself, but actually more importantly, because of the women that are on the ground. And I think that's the key thing that we kind of like miss in the NGO world as well. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Natasha, and thank you for choosing Malaysia to do your community work in. That's very good, thank you. Right. So we move on to the next speaker, Ms. Meera Raj, right? And as I said, she's the boss here, right? And actually, when I wanted to, extend my stay till after this session, I just said to her, "Sell your name." All right, and I just said that I'm moderating a session with your GM, so they did not say that I can't check out later. No? So that's good, right? So Meera is, as I said, the GM here. So Meera, maybe you can share with us your journey in the hotel line.
Thank you very much, Dato, and thank you everybody for being here today. I'm sure that everything's been fine so far, and more than fine. Exactly. So yeah, my name is Meera. I'm currently the general manager here. I wish I was as decided as the other ladies on what I wanted to do when I graduated, but that wasn't the case. I actually come from mixed heritage, so my mom's Chinese, my dad is Indian. And if you know what that means, is if you do well in school, you're expected to be a doctor, lawyer, or or an engineer. So obviously I was pushed into one of those lines, and I actually started studying to be a doctor. I didn't like it, and then I was very fortunate that my dad actually just asked me, so what do you want to do? I didn't know. I was 18 and no idea. And so because my dad used to work in an airline and we used to travel very frequently, he actually suggested hospitality, and that's how I got into it. So I started studying hospitality. It was a huge culture shock, going from biology to learning about forks and glasses. But I liked it, and so when I started with IHG, and then subsequently I moved across the region to Singapore, Indonesia, with different hotel groups like Marriott and the Hilton, before returning to IHG, actually in this very property. At that time, being a director of food and beverage, I was working with a male-dominant team. I still am at the moment, but especially in food and beverage, if you look at most of the director of food and beverages, they are white, middle-aged male. And so it was a privilege for me to come and head the food and beverage team here at this very hotel. So I was very blessed to have an opportunity here. Subsequently, I was sent to Thailand for 5 years, and I just came back at the beginning of this year, actually in February, back to Malaysia. So while I'm very proud to be, the first Malaysian female general manager of this hotel, I think there are two things. Thank you very much. I think really there are two things that have helped me along the way, which I hold very close to my heart. First is myself, which is even though I'm proud to be the first female and Malaysian, I do not define myself, and I refuse to be defined by demographics. So I would really rather be known as a leader who is kind, courageous, smart, rather than being put in a box saying that, you are female and that's why you got this job, because I definitely didn't get this job because I'm a girl. The second thing is people. I work in the people industry, and I am very well aware that you cannot get anywhere without people's support. So when I was small, I was very lucky to have parents who really supported me all the way. Anything I want to do, even though I come from quite a conservative, larger family. My family was very non-traditional. And then subsequently, when I joined the industry until today, I have stakeholders who trust me to manage their business. I have a company who trusts me to manage this business on their behalf. And I have a team who cares enough to be with me on this journey. So I think being sure of yourself is one thing, but having people who support you through that journey is extra important. So that's my journey so far, and I really look forward to the rest of it.
All right, thank you so much, Meera. So we move on now to Ms. Tabasomm Mohammad Kazim on Zoom. Are you there, Tabasomm?
Yes, I'm here.
You're there from Russia?
Yes, from Russia, but
yeah,
my heart is always in Afghanistan.
Okay, so Tabasomm is a university student, as I said, a first-year university student. But if you see her CV, right, she's done all sorts of activities, at university, all right. And I'm glad that she included here that. But I am studying perfectly well, all right. Although she's in university, I mean, you're very active in all this. A lot of Malaysian, a lot of societies, a lot of associations in university, right? But that is balanced with your education. So we'd like to hear from you, right, about your journey, Tabasomm.
Thank you so much, everybody. At first, I want to say something about myself. My name is Tabasomm. I'm 21. I'm from Afghanistan. I was raised in Afghanistan, finished school. And as I said, I'm physically in Russia, but my heart is always in my hometown. And yes, I left my hometown in 2016. We became refugee with my family, and when I want to say this, when you become refugee, it's a thing that you sometimes lost yourself. Sometimes, not all, sometimes. But I was very fortunate that my family always supports me, and they say that the most important thing in life is education, and you must study. And they always say that it's important to get education, and it's important to attend university. And it became for me a goal in my life to study. But I was always a good student, and in school I was always interested in science and social science. As a matter of fact, I want to become a doctor, but my family said no, it's little bit too many for our family. No, because we had some problems with our in life, and they said no. It's good to attend social science because it's cheap than medicine. And I attend program in international relations, but as a matter of fact, I realized that I like it. It's the thing that I want to study. And now I'm studying international relations, and I'm also studying economy as part-time. And I just want to say something that unfortunately I came from a country that women suffers a lot, and always we are suffering from that we don't have right to attend school sometimes, to have a good education. But I'm wishing that in the future I will have a chance to give women from my country, not women from not only from my country, but women who want to have a good education, and I will be able to give them. And I'm planning to open my non-professional organization, not now, in future. And I want to help women, especially women from Afghanistan, that they have a good education. And at last, I want to say that if you want something and you are wishing from your heart, you will get it. And I think it's the most important thing. And at the end, I want to thank and that you invited me, and especially Dr. Jessie, that she personally invited me. And I'm very honored to be a part of this event, and I'm wishing good luck everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tabasomm. How old are you? You are 19?
21.
21. Okay, we have such a young group of people around here, right? But it's good. It's very inspiring to hear all the stories of these young entrepreneurs. So I'm coming back to you, Suha, as a young entrepreneur. Right, at 24, you've already had your company for 2 years. All right, out of university, you started to, you know what you wanted to do, and you started it, and it's all going well and according to plan. All right, so you are in Gen Z, right? You are Gen Z, I think. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think it's Gen Z. You are, But I just want to ask you whether, you seem to know exactly what you want to do. Was it something that you plan all these things? Was it something that you while you were at university you planned? And I know you said you come from a entrepreneur family, right? Was it something that you knew you wanted to do to get into this area, or was it something that opportunity that arose, when you thought of a business to do and this arose? So, was it something that you planned, an action plan that you had when you were studying, that you executed it straight after you graduated? And what about all your other friends? So because from my experience, the people of your age, right, I've been trying to employ some of the people of your age in my firm and all that. I've always had a lot of difficulty because I find that the attitude of the young, it's sometimes, they're not like you, all right? So maybe you can comment. Are you a typical 24-year-old and about your generation, right? I mean, or you think you're a typical 24-year-old? Or not?
All right, thank you for the question. So I think there's like two parts to it. The first one is, was it according to plan? And second one, is it typical? Right, so I think just addressing the first question first, which is whether there is a plan, right? I actually firmly believe that that no plans actually go according to plan, right? Even if we have from the small scale of planning our day to the large scale of roadmaps for countries, right? It never goes according to plan because there's just so many different circumstances and people that come into our life and changes. Of course, the pandemic was a huge change in life circumstances, right? So definitely it's not according to plan. So if it was according to plan, then I would have completed my master's already. in educational neuroscience, and I'll probably be either pursuing a PhD or working in the UK, right? So, and the plan was to start such an education social enterprise towards my late 20s. So it seems like the plan was brought forward. So, it's quite challenging, but I would say that what has happened today was a combination of three factors. The first one is, as already mentioned previously, it was about exposure. And second, it was about opportunity. And the third was assessing my abilities. What can I do? And to the people who know the concept of ikigai, or if you don't, it's actually a Japanese concept of a reason for being. And there's like 4 parts to it, right, to ikigai. The first one is what you're good at. The second one is what you love doing. The third one is what the world needs. And the fourth one is how can we feel fulfilled or rewarded, whether that is in monetary form or in non-monetary form. So I would say that for the first 2 areas, what I'm good at and what I'm interested in was something that I have been very reflective about and that I'm very aware about. Whereas the third section is where the life circumstance part plays a huge role. Depending on what the world needs, right? What is the state of Malaysia at the moment? What is it that's the really pressing issues? And what are the root causes? How can I contribute to that? How can I create social good? So that links to the fourth part, which is what rewards me. So I think that one, definitely being able to create social impact. And money is secondary. And I know that I'm able to say this because I come from a privileged environment. So I'm very, very aware of that. And I definitely hope to help more people to be in this position where we can do something that we're passionate about and live a sustainable life and career. Yeah. So am I typical? Thank you. All right. Am I typical? I think that every single person is their own person. Yeah. I mean, I know that's kind of cheating. But definitely, if we are able to find all of these different areas of our life, then we can all be unique. Because if we don't know where we're going, then we're actually letting other people make that decision for us. What to do for life, what to eat even sometimes, like from the smallest things to your career, right? Who you get married with, which country you stay in, right? So I would say, yes, I would say that everybody has the ability to be unique if we have the set of tools and abilities to be in that resourceful state.
Great. She makes a great decision. I mean, she knows that these are the decisions that she has made, and you made them wisely for you. I think that's the most important thing, right? So we come back to Miss Veronica. Okay, Miss Veronica, and you was talking about social enterprises now, and 23 years now, right? After you started your YCAB Foundation, and now you're going into a bigger structure. Right? Would you say that that social enterprise is something which is getting more popular now? And if so, all right, I mean, is it attractive, to entrepreneurs to go into social enterprise? As you can see, Suha is also in social enterprise. Is it something which is gaining popularity? And is it something that attracts more women to get into? All right. Is there is it
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dato. Getting more popular simply because I think two reasons. Number one, the new generation like Shua, Gen Z, like my first is I think millennials, the youngest millennial, and my second is right in the transition of millennials and Gen Z, and my third one definitely Gen Z. They see meaning as a part of their presence, their being. So purpose becomes big in their life. I mean, I've seen that generational comparison when they see meaning in their workplace. The younger generation actually has higher tendency to want to have purpose in what they do. as a result, they can't stay working in one place longer than 2 years. That's reality, which is, it makes all of us really difficult to maintain their attention. And I think talent scouting these days are really hard, talent management and retention, really hard unless you play on this game of purpose. I wouldn't say game in the negative term, but in positive. Like, you need to keep giving them challenge, and how the next challenge actually create a more sustainable world. The 3 Ps, right? Shua has 4 Cs, I have 3 Ps. is a profit, people, and planet, right? Profit, everybody knows. Profitability is sustainability, no questions asked. People, how you treat your people in your company becomes an impact sort of to be measured as well. I mean, social enterprise, we talk about impact measurement as if only to the people that we serve, to the beneficiaries of the program, but it's not. Impact measurement should also measure inwardly into the organization, how the organization treat their employees, how the organization actually, in doing their business, in delivering that impact to the external world, they're doing it in the matters of, you know, preserving the planet, which is the third piece, right? How you actually can create a net zero, or at least, you know, maybe, or if you can offset the carbon in how you do the business as a social enterprise. Now, it's part of making the impact actually more deeper into social enterprise. Is it more popular? Yes, because of the generational. I said that's number one. Number two, it's very popular now, even for the business world. Why? Because ESG. The ESG rating that every organizations now, they're going to start with the public listed company. They're going to start with the energy sector. They have to have the ESG investment rating. Without it, they cannot access capital to bank. Goldman Sachs won't even consider your proposal if you don't have an ESG rated company. So that becomes, I guess, popular because of the generation, but because of the money factor. Nobody can access bank if they don't have an ESG. So that's in the practical side of it. But I guess as a social enterprise, social entrepreneurs, we have to be very careful with the impact washing. A lot of people, a lot of companies talk about the impact they create, the impact that they emit through their work that they do, but in reality, is it transparent? Is it accountable? Is it audited? So these are the next world for social enterprise to do the impact transparency. That's what I think. I just want to close to it. It's a difficult. Yeah, impact measurement is going internal, is going external, and it's going deep. Maybe I stop there.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Veronica. So the next question for Ms. Natasha. So you said that you're basically in a voluntary organization, right? You're full-time in voluntary organization. So I just like to ask you, your volunteers, right? Are they made up of, more women or more men? I mean, do you see some kind of, would women be more suitable, right, in this, sort of line of work for this voluntary work, right? Do you find that, more women come and join you? And the other thing is the fact that you are a full-time volunteer, right? Would that be a hindrance to a lot of people to come and join you because, it's a full-time, it's a non-revenue generating activity? So what would be a comment to that?
Okay, so within my NGO, we actually are volunteers, and we dedicate our time to solely serve underprivileged people that also want to make a difference in their lives. Naturally, and I think organically, we do attract a lot more women because I'm not really sure, but I guess just going by being a female myself, maybe there's more compassion, maybe there's more empathy. And I think in particularly with people that are mothers, or even more so people that have suffered. And I find people that have gone through a lot of suffering in their life, you don't have to be underprivileged, but you could be even someone that's successful. But you say, hey, like, I remember it was that hard, and I remember this lady did A, B, C, D for me, right? And they say, hey, like, I'd love to help this child because they remind me of me when I was younger. So I think that human connection, and I think that level of empathy really comes with hardships as well, on different levels. And I think I'd just like to say, maybe share a little story with you, just so maybe you can get a little bit of a better understanding. So through the mentoring project that I have, everybody has to work for what they want. So it's not like they're given like large grants or a beautiful, you know, or they've given a lot of things to kind of like start their base on. So there's a girl that I helped just before COVID. I think it was about 3 months into COVID. And this girl, she's always had a dream of being a social entrepreneur. And this girl, when when I first saw her, what attracted me to her was she came up to me and she said, Miss Natasha, I love to help underprivileged people, but I don't have money. Like, how can I help someone if I don't have money? So I sat down and I actually wrote down a lot of goals and things that generally social entrepreneurs actually target. And I listened to what she had to say. And I asked her, like, how do you think we should go about it? And we brainstormed different avenues. And what she did was, for about 6 months, she researched oils in Malaysia, which we knew, I'm not sure if there is, but I mean, for our experience, we couldn't find any good aromatherapy oils that had really beautiful scent. And she wrote to a lot of people from all over the world. And they actually made like really nice videos on how to make candles, and they wrote recipes, and it went on for quite a while. And I just want to cut the story short for you. So fast forward, I asked her and I said, why don't you go and ask people that you know and see if they know a place that makes candles and things like that. And it just so happened someone gave her a contact. It's actually someone she didn't really know, but she met someone at the market before, but she thought, I'm going to be daring enough to contact that person. And I kid you not, literally 3 to 4 days later, the lady arrived at her house at 11 o'clock at night with 40 liters of oil, and she drove from Singapore to Malaysia. And she actually spent the evening teaching her how to make candles and do labeling and things like that. So just like what these ladies were saying, like, if you follow your purpose in life, and if you work hard, and if you do have the right heart, and if you do want to give back, I think it comes across really, really well to people, and I think they can see when you're genuine and you're honest. So this is just one example of, of how we do things within the network as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. Meera, right, just to, maybe you can share with us, about the pandemic and how it hit the hotel industry and the hospitality industry very badly, right? It's first to close, last to open, right? And there are a lot of hotels in Kuala Lumpur which had to shut down because of the pandemic. Right, so the first question is that are things improving now? Things getting better and way? And the second question is that you said you're the first GM, right, of InterContinental KL, right? So why did it take them so long to have the first female GM? And is there any gender gap, gender bias? We've been discussing that since yesterday, right? Is there that gender gap in the hotel industry, and taking into account that the GMs and all have to do a lot of traveling, right? Especially for the big chains, travel around the world. And would that be a disadvantage to a woman, in the hotel industry?
Okay, first of all, let's get through the depressing part, which was the pandemic. It was a really difficult 2 years. I actually spent the 2 years in Bangkok. Similar to KL, it was a very depressed market. Most of the places were locked down. Travel was shut, hotels were closed. I think what was impacted the most was really just our sanity, right? For myself, I was a general manager serving my first post in Bangkok. And imagine your colleagues, they are on minimum wage, which is for us equivalent to like 1,000 ringgit. And because there's no service charge, because there's no guests, and there's leave without pay because we just can't afford to keep the hotel running, they're probably going back with 1/3 of what they earn. So it was a very, very difficult time, especially when you need to communicate that to your colleagues and still get them to come to work. It takes a lot of impact and influence, and if you don't have genuine care, no one's going to come and work for you. So I think that was a major point of realization for myself. I know a lot of my colleagues in Malaysia face similar issues. Thankfully, we are now coming out at the tail end of it, and there is recovery. It's already starting to recover. Is it happening fast enough? It is happening very fast. We don't have the manpower. People, please come back to work. But I think a lot of people are just uncertain of the stability of the industry at the moment. So recovery is there, the manpower is not so much. We're having to be very, very creative in how we work. And I think where there's a will, there's a way. So we are definitely charging forward very, very strong in our team. In regards to why did it take so long for that to be a female, I don't know, but here I am, so it's okay. I think in hospitality, is there a gender gap? Yes, probably a little bit now, not as much as before. Does it make it difficult for you to be a GM if you're female? Well, I think there are many components to this actually. First of all, I do feel personally, as I said, I don't see myself first and foremost as a female GM, but just the best person for the job. And I think if more women thought that way, they would actually realize that the glass ceiling is sometimes not really there. It's a matter of whether you want to go for it or not. Second thing is, can women travel? Absolutely. But would you judge a wife who was a housewife who followed her husband? No, you wouldn't. Would you judge a husband who followed his wife? You probably would. So I think when we talk about being biased against women leaders, we should absolutely not be biased against men who are supportive of women leaders. And I think that's equally important to make sure that we have a holistic view of how it works. For me, myself, in hospitality, as I said, I started out in food and beverage, so I was very, very lucky that my first boss, he did not recognize me as a girl. I was one of the boys, I was one of whoever was there. And I think that just made me tougher and made me perform to my best abilities. And until today, I find that more often than not, we are the ones who put ourselves forward. And it's not only being a woman, right? It's also being young. Young doesn't mean anything. Young just means probably I have more energy. But I also see 50-year-olds who have more energy than me. So it's not relative to age. Similarly, yes, I agree that women are more caring, but I've seen men who are much more caring than myself as well. So I don't think that, it's going to be an easy solve, but if we can just move the focus from trying to be inclusive in terms of demographics to trying to be inclusive based on characteristics and personalities, we'll make progress much, much faster.
Yes, I agree with you totally. Right, okay, so now I'm going to ask the question of Ms. Tabasomm. You still there? Okay, right. So with all your activities in university now, yeah, is it all the activities that you're involved in, I mean, is it something like you plan certain things you're interested in, or is it that you're just exposing yourself to all the activities so that you get more, experience? Actually, I do believe that formal education is one thing, but it's very good for character building when you get involved in all these activities. So is it planned to have all these activities, or and what would be your career, right, that you are planning for yourself when you graduate, hopefully in 2 years' time? So what's the plan?
Thank you for question. As a matter of fact, I'm joining all these programs not because I want to, just for example, to be shown or something like that. No, I'm attending the program that I want, that are interesting to me, and I'm sure that they will give me a good experience. And I'm that kind of person that I don't attend a program that's just beautiful, just yet exciting. No, I attend a program that's I like, and about my career. At first, I want to say that nobody knows his or her destiny. It's all in the hands of Allah, God, and nobody knows. But I'm thinking to go to master's degree or maybe second degree and something like that. And but for now, I'm just wishing that in my hometown, in my homeland, there will be peace, and I will be able to go to my hometown and visit my friends, some of my families, and it's just the most thing that I want in my life. Peace, not for my, for not for only for my hometown, but for everybody, especially my homeland.
Okay, we'll pray that you get back to and see your family in in Afghanistan, right? Right. So, can I open the floor now to questions? Anybody has any questions? You're supposed to be the ultimate master class, you know. So you got to come and show that you're the ultimate master class because I've given you that label already. Okay. Anybody with any questions? Okay. Can you introduce yourself and before you shoot out the question, please?
Hi, afternoon. My name is Anja, and I'm currently run a social enterprise called Atina Holdings in Berhad, where we produce sustainable and eco-friendly sanitary and diaper products. And our social mission is empowering young girls with good menstrual hygiene practices, as well as we run rural women economic empowerment program. And currently, I'm also the president of Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development, where we work closely with the policymaker in to do a lot of policies, or create more policies, or give more information from the grassroots. And just to share before I pose my questions, that in 2014, we are lucky that our Malaysian government have acknowledged the social enterprise model. And in January 2016, the government aimed to achieve 1,000 social entrepreneurs in Malaysia by December 2020. Before I go, how many registered social enterprise today in Malaysia? We have the ministry have recently launched on April 23rd the new social enterprise blueprint. Where now they aim to get 5,000 social enterprises registered by 2025 and 10,000 by 2030. And the fact that today we only have 414 social enterprise registered, not that the requirement is hard, not really. And out of that, there are less than 100 who are fully certified as an accredited social enterprise. And back to the government aims to get 5,000 by 2025 and 10,000 by 2030. My question to Su Hua, because currently I can say that the young social enterprises in Malaysia runs by the entrepreneur maybe in their mid-30s, but I'm so happy to see you, to know that at the age of 24, you're already like running your own social enterprise. And maybe from the point of the young generation like you, what would be the best, something that not only the government, but maybe through chamber can do in attract more young future social entrepreneurs to get them to do involved in this business model. Maybe we'd like to know, to hear from the young person in herself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Suha?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Anja. Yeah, so just now I've touched on three of the areas of like where it got me to starting the social enterprise, right? Which was exposure, opportunity, and ability. And I'll just add one more, which is regulation as well. Yeah, so I think in order to help the youths, I think as we have heard from Ms. Veronica as well, right? Definitely a lot of youths have that agency to do something purposeful and to create social good. But definitely, you know, if you ask some youth to start their own company, there's going to be huge fear. And no doubt that that fear is going to exist no matter how confident we are, right? But I definitely think that it is about providing that exposure, that opportunity, and also further equipping them with the abilities to run a social enterprise as a social entrepreneur well. And also the last part is regulation on how it can be made to be more flexible as well, I would say, because definitely there's different types of social enterprise, right? Some may be product-based, some may be service-based, and some may be technology-based, right? For example, Digital Way Academy, we are focusing on education in technology. And for that part, if anyone is familiar with the work in venture capitals with technology companies, the average finding is that for more innovative services and products, it will take around 3 years before it lifts up. That is like the average, you know. Yeah. However, right, the regulation is that you have to prove that your company is financially already sustainable in order to get the accreditation. And then that actually blocks the access to additional resources and funding to such social enterprises. So the question back to Ms. Anja as well, right, Puan Anja, is how can we make the regulation to be agile and flexible so that we can allow for different types of social enterprises to take form and to give them the resources, the platform, and the exposure that's needed to nurture these kind of social enterprises.
Okay. All right, for the chamber, is it only accredited social enterprise, Anja? Is it only accredited social enterprise? And yeah, I think maybe sometimes, you know, the regulations make it difficult for people to get the accreditation, and people just do their own thing and they can't get accredited and they don't belong to the chamber, and that affects the numbers. Yeah.
Okay. Currently, there are about 2 active NGOs in supporting the social enterprise ecosystem. The chamber consists of practitioner, academician, as well as those young or those who have aspired to become one. And the other is Malaysia Inclusive Entrepreneur Association, where they are 100% practitioners who runs their own social enterprise. So yeah,
but they must be accredited.
For chamber, no, not for both, as long as they are already registered as a basic if you are a practitioner, because there are 3 levels of accreditation by the ministry. So as long as you fulfill the first one, registered as a basic social enterprise.
So the member is actually the company or the person?
The company.
The company.
Yeah.
So why are you registered with the chamber?
I don't think I'm registered with the chamber, but we're going through with the accreditation right now. And what I've described was one of our problems, like the chicken and egg problem, right? For something more innovative, how do you prove that financial sustainability, right? And like sort of, yeah, having the company to guarantee that is quite a high expectation, right? Yeah. So that's one of the issues that we're facing at the moment.
Maybe I just share that the basic to get the basic social enterprise, you need to be at least 1 year, and just fulfill 3 criteria. Whether first that you need to be registered as a business entity, it could be with SSM, Register of Society, or cooperative. Second, you must have a clear social mission, whether on community, people, or planet. And the third one is that, of course, as a sustainable business model. That's just the basic. But you need to, once you hit 3 years, That's when you start to do your impact reporting. They will audit you for you to get accreditation. And once you hit your 5th years, that's when you have another audit or due diligence by the Ministry of Finance to give you the Social Enterprise Accredited Plus. So 3 layers lah.
Okay, thank you so much, Anja. It seems to be a lot to do. Maybe I can ask the question to Ms. Veronica in Indonesia, whether you have such regulations there. You heard about the regulations in Malaysia, right? So what's the situation
Yes.
like in Indonesia?
No, I was gonna comment anyway. I think congratulations to Malaysia, to actually the government, to really nail it, because in our case, I've been working on the policy of social entrepreneurship 5 years ago. We didn't end up to become like a law. So this is gonna be attached to the entrepreneurship, national entrepreneurship law. We're not there yet, but we got the presidential decree, which was issued last year in November. But we're not even close to what Ms. Anja was describing in terms of the basic and accreditation, registration, all the whole processes. We are just there at the criteria, and I think the criteria matters because in Indonesia, we kind of stated that the majority of profit, how you treat profit, makes you different than normal enterprise, limited company. If you are reinvesting your majority of your profits to your mission, then this is a more social enterprise kind of criteria, which is we are looking at. I think the beacon was the UK community interest company, the law in UK regulating social enterprise to give away 51%, not to other charities, but to reinvest it into the mission. So we are taking that route. And not there yet in terms of the registration and of course the setting of target. I think it was 5,000 and 10,000 by 2050. That is amazing. I would like to learn a lot and then bring that learning back to Indonesia.
Yeah, okay. Maybe Anja, you can connect with Veronica
Yeah.
and discuss it. Yeah, that's good. Any other questions? Any question from the floor?
Maybe Dato, if with your permission, I'd like to just respond to your second questions with I forgot to.
Okay, all right.
The social entrepreneurs, are there more women, right, in this field? The answer is yes, but the investors of impact investors are still mainly male dominated. I don't know why, especially the venture philanthropy. The venture philanthropy, probably 50-50, but from the impact investors, male, but the doers, the social entrepreneurs in Indonesia, at least, we've looked at the 8,000 social enterprise registered under British Council, about 70% women. So that's probably our data. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for answering the question. Yeah, it was, asked you the last time, even I forgot that you haven't answered the question. So I think I see that Roshan is already there. I mean, it's maybe a warning for us to end this session now. And I also see the moderator for the next session, Tan Sri Sharifah Hafsah, is already here. So I won't take too much of your time. So I'd like to thank all of you, the ultimate masterclass, for your attention today. And thank you so much to the panel, Ms. Suhua, Natasha, Meera, right, on Zoom, Veronica and Tabasomm, right? So can we give them a big round of applause? Right. So thank you so much, and I'll pass back the session to Roshan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dato Azlin. Can I invite Dato Azlin and the panelists to come to the front of the stage?